Charan?
Hi, Govind.
Yeah, first of all, thank you all for joining in today. Thank you for joining on such a short notice. I welcome you all, first of all, on a Saturday. And it's been a great privilege and honor to also have some key speakers in this discussion of the webinar, our first session going live. Kuberens House and our association partners, and we're all going live together. So I first of all wish all of you a happy new year, though it's just like 10 days late, but still we're still in the new year's side of things. So having said this, I would kickstart on certain things that we are doing today, which we already are aware of. So the topic for discussion today is how to get your first customer or your validation in the market, which is a quite interesting topic, looking at the tough conditions and times that we are facing today. And also, we also understand that with today's innovations in ecosystems, we could still try to get relevant customers and market validation for all the industries and startups categories we have today. So having said this, I want to definitely do a session flow before, as this will also be a set of instructions to be a part and participate in this entire program. So all I'm going to start is we will have a session flow starting from the key speakers. I'll be doing the introduction soon about our key speakers. We'll be talking about our subject matter today, which is how do we get our first customer. And
Govind, I guess you got muted.
The co-founders and the associations. And the third piece of the topic discussions will be around the QA sessions. We already have QA sessions coming in. I would request all the other members who are participating, apart from the key speakers, to have those questions sent in the chat note only. There won't be audio or video sessions for the Q&A sessions. So the distribution of time for the keynote speakers is 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. And for speakers from Kuberens House will be 10 minutes. And the rest piece of the time will be for Q&A sessions, which will be questions posed on chat so that we can take those questions and then have these questions answered by our key speakers and speakers. So with this note, I would kickstart our discussion by introducing our key speakers. Thank you for joining in, Manan. So to introduce about Manan, Manan has been a HR professional with 15 years of experience in various sectors, including high-tech, e-commerce, and various other sectors. He's the country head for a company called Blaze, and it's one of the leading AI platforms. So Manan has also been a distinguished speaker and also working with startups for a long period of time. And he's been a great enthusiast to work closely with startup founders and startup teams. So I welcome you, Manan, today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me
for this session. We have another keynote speaker, who's Mr. Prashant Sinha, who's the CEO of BITS Technology Incubator. He's also been a part of Mentor for Change for the Agile Tinkering Lab. He's also been the strategic advisor for Labs.ai and a couple of various initiatives, well connected with the startup ecosystem. And also, we can probably say our associate with Kuberens House as a partner, working with us together. So thank you so much for joining, Prashant Sinha.
Thank you, Govind.
Yeah. I would also have our other speakers introduced. We have, my own colleague and team member, Ranjit Royal, who's the co-founder Kuberens House, who's also been the founding team member and has been doing various operations and a couple of other initiatives at Kuberens House. There'll be a slide introduction later as well. And thank you for joining today, Ranjit, who's also had great stint of experience in the HR field and ecosystems in his past 10 years of experience. He's been the deputy manager in his past stint, but working full-time on the Kuberens House project. Thanks again, Ranjit, for joining in. We have Sri Charan, who's the CEO of StuMax, which is the ecosystem platform for various student initiatives. It's like a social commerce platform for various programs, initiatives run by students. He's got one of the largest student community himself with himself. I would also wish to share that he's been a recent author called DAD, which is called Do and Don'ts, which has been a great initiative to imbibe the spirit of entrepreneurship through his voice of book. So I welcome you, Sri Charan, with a great amount of experience, well connected with startup ecosystem again over the past 10, 12 years.
Thanks
for joining.
Govind.
Yeah.
Thanks, Govind. Looking forward.
And myself, I'll be the moderator for today's session. I've had my own group of companies myself. I'm the vice president of an international forum and the chief strategy officer of Kubernetes House. I'm really glad that I'm a part of the team and working with the founders very closely. And I think with this introduction, we will kickstart the session with our current agenda. So I would request to start off for Manan to start off the session by addressing the first note towards. So Manan, this is the question I want to ask directly, right? So, what do you think are the ways and techniques we should still follow even during the current times, and also looking at the future? Look at to get the first customer has been a main agenda or the most important factor, either to raise funds or an investment, right?
Right.
So, where do you want to start your conversations with? I think I will leave the discussion open to you. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks. Guys, thanks for having me here. It's a very energizing kind of a feeling to talk with minds which are aligned towards the startup ecosystem. I personally take a lot of pride in working with this ecosystem. To answer your question, Govind, I would like to quote a line that the founder of my business school till date says. His name is Professor Bala Balachandran. He is a Bharat Ratna. And he says that your net worth is going to be decided by your network. And I think that's where the journey of a good product starts from. So let's break a product down. A product is basically an idea. At some point, while you are dealing with a certain ecosystem, you realize that, well, these things could be done better. Or what if there's a product that solves these pain points that I've observed while being a part of this ecosystem? And that's the genesis, right? But then you are this thought is just there in your mind. Okay, for you to actually start working on this thought, you need to actually join forces with people who are of the same opinion, because that was started by one person. Okay, the idea was started by one person, but for a startup to shape up, it is important that multiple people, like-minded people, aligned people come together, and that's your network. And then they start working towards the idea, because each one comes to the table with their own expertise. So I think your network is going to be the wheels on which your idea is going to move forward. Okay. The challenge that the younger generation feels right now is that the closest friendships that they've had are from their school days or from their engineering college days. And after that, the networking becomes a very shallow kind of an exercise, right? So it goes back to the human factor again. How do you ensure that in this digital age also, you're able to create a network that still cares for you?
Sure.
Right?
So,
there are 6,000 people on your network. How many will turn up on your funeral? It's a slightly morbid thought, but think on those lines. Okay? And those are people who are going to emotionally connect with your idea, your product, and they are going to become the vehicles who are going to talk about it.
Yes.
So that's my 2 cents on how do we go about doing it.
So are you saying that this is how you would approach your first customer, your own networks?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If I don't have the advertising budget, if I don't have the deep pockets of the global majors to launch a campaign, so to say, I would depend on the network of people who know me, who in turn know someone else, and their word is going to matter more than a 3x6 kind of an advertisement in a newspaper or a 20-second commercial.
Yeah.
So I think that's my personal thought around this.
Okay, great. I think this was very insightful. I think, Manan, the way you portrayed, the way you utilize your first networks is something that we should be looking at. It's been a great insight for all. To support the same statement and the initiative and the topic for today, Prashant, how would you want to take up the area of market validation when it comes to the current trends of the market? And if you take one use case of a sector, we can definitely extrapolate that point. But how do you want to take up the subject market validation in this scenario and also the future market conditions, product or service? Yeah.
Thank you, Govind, for the question. And I'll take it from where Manan told the network, what startups does. The innovation is a very hard or very tough process because solving problems people didn't know they had and building no one needs looks identical at first. So what this statement, I mean, it's a quote by somebody, I don't know the guy who has given this quote. It is just like market validation happens when you get the first customer.
Right.
Okay. 100 set of customers. See, actually, it has been when we'll talk about the digitization which has happened, the internet penetration which has happened. My personal view and everybody here will have the same view that we are trying to increase our per capita innovation consumption regularly.
Okay.
So there are a plethora of opportunities which has grown and people are there with an idea. The validation will happen. See, I might have thought of some I give an example of artificial intelligence. Intelligence is the next big thing. Everybody knows about it.
Right.
A lot of startup in artificial intelligence which has failed because they don't have a good feedback mechanism.
Correct.
Algorithm doesn't have a feedback mechanism. The feedback mechanism with first your friends and networking, whatever you have, can give you a feedback on what your product you are developing. But the customer which comes to you, and it's not like it's like if he gives you a feedback. With all the complexities you have created, like whatever is there. So validation actually happens in the startup space.
Okay. So I think fairly when you used the consumption of your network and also to look at areas of the first customers would be the first unique and important 100 customers, right? Could be either unique audience in their own ways. I think that is the first proposition that we need to understand, saying, hey, you know what? My first 100 customers are quite unique. So it will be the similar kind of an experience when I put it out through a digital campaign to more number of customers, right? So I think I hear you from what you just pointed out in order to say our first 100 customers are important to use our product to get our validation out. Yeah, I think fairly. And on this note, I definitely agree.
It's like just an extension to that. Means the first 100 paying customers.
Yes.
Startups who say they give it for free, they give infinity things, which makes it difficult to validate your idea.
Right.
It's something. It's like I am an incubation professional. I interact with a lot of startups every day.
Right.
I think it's like some say we are making a very cheap product.
Right.
It would be not expensive. Why not expensive? Why don't you charge a premium on this? This is a very unique proposition to be made.
Right.
So mindset is there when you get to know, and what should happen when there are who is who all in the industry. There are corporates who have over time themselves to become such big companies.
Right.
So how do you get inspired by them? It's something, and that validation happens once you come in an eye of investors. It's like there is a very good investor of ours. It's like, I have heard him a lot of time. He says, Prashant, whenever you send me something, some startup or some proposition to me, just make sure that he has some paying customers with him.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a very valid point.
Yeah. That's the maturity of startup shows that, okay, fine. There are people who will pay. It can be first 100 customer acquisition is a bit, there are several ways, search engine optimization, you can do anything. Digital era is there, the advertising has reduced. So these all come into focus. But as soon as you start getting customers, what you can demand, So
Right.
that's the validation to happen.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Manan, do you want to add any points to these two things? One, we spoke of how to get your first customer, right? Second, we thought about validation. So, contributing these two towards an investment is, do you want to throw some light on this?
See, the moment we talk about investments, we start talking about an inevitable part of investments, that is risk. Okay. I think much of what the customer is looking for today is not just how a product alleviates their pain, but also how risk-free is the product. It
Right.
could be a financial product. It could be a physical product. Okay,
Right.
tangible kind of a product. So I think a lot of it has to do with that fact. And as we progress into this discussion, I'll obviously bring in more thoughts
Sure.
in terms of how do we mitigate those risks. But yeah, I think why would a customer come to you?
Right.
Okay, if they have a certain set of loyalty towards
Right.
an existing product,
Mhm.
why would they chuck that product and come to you? It's
Okay.
only two things that can make that happen. Either the product that they are currently using fails miserably, or the product that you are delivering aces the product that they currently are at. Okay.
Okay.
So I think commercial aspects of validation are also important as Prashant mentioned. You can't be dicing a product lower, knowing fully that your product is much better than the existing product in the market, just because you are desperate for validation.
Correct.
I think it has to be a more equitable game.
Okay. Right. So with these extensions, I would like to ask, what kind of a customer is actually a customer, right?
For the way I
So
see.
because every industry sector has a unique customer base. While getting your first customer, everything is context back to the first customer, right? So how do we say this is the right customer I am, engaging with, or he's the right customer who's using my product, or is he the first user, validating my product, right? So how do we define the first customer? We have got about the network, we have got about the areas of 100 customers, we have got about paying users, but what is the definition of a first customer according to you?
Govind, that's a question for me.
Yes, Manan, for you. Yes.
The first customer is one who initially has faith in what the product promises.
Yes.
And after having validated that faith by testing the product, is willing to talk about it.
Okay.
I would say that would be a customer that I would like give my right hand and right leg for as my first customer.
Okay.
Because the moment I have validation, the moment I have a happy customer, the moment there is a customer willing to put a stamp on my product that yes, this is delivering what it promises to deliver. I think from that point on, you have a base where you can, it's a springboard kind of a thing.
Correct.
That reinforces that entire anxiety, that entire blood and sweat that has gone into developing that product with a hypothesis that customers will like it, right? And the moment that gets validated, I think first thing that you'll feel is that with that validation comes a lot of air under your wings.
Right.
Because now you have a faith that it's not a mere hypothesis, there is a proof of concept of this product or an idea, right? That confidence itself starts showing in the way you start engaging with future customers and investors, right? So I would like to have the first customer. That's what I would pray for.
Okay. And thanks, Manan. I'm just going to push this another question to Prashant. Prashant, what do you think is the right way of validating the product? We have had many ways to do it, right? But at the end of the day, what is validation for me is different from validation for an investor, right? So as a startup, I have a different way of looking at things, but as an investor, there's a different way of looking at things. So how would you want to differentiate these two things in areas of market validation?
So see, investors are quite smart. They are no philanthrope, first of all.
Yeah.
They need something which can give them a 5x or a 10x return. So
Right.
we're not here to relish the startup dream that, okay, fine, one morning somebody got up and I'll become an entrepreneur. So you get an investor. First set of investors is your family and friends, which you bootstrap yourself to develop a product. So when a startup wherein your father has a confidence that, okay, fine, this idea is there and I'll put my money and time or whatever it may be. So that kind of, it gives a validation that your idea will work out. So there are emotional issues attached to it. But when you talk about the investors validating an idea, I'll give you an example for apps and all.
Right.
BITS Pilani has some 5,000 students in the campus. I develop an app, I request everybody, I'll get 2,000 app. Fine. So, but the investor will not say, okay, fine, you have 2,000 users. The investor will go and see how much time people are spending on that app.
Right. Right.
So there are many ways wherein if it is a digital product, again, digital product, if it is a tangible project, like COVID times, vaccine. Vaccine, if at all it was developed, the technology gives a investor a confidence that it has passed the trial, then it trials. So that kind of validation happens. So every sector is different. It's like some can be supported through lab research. You see things can happen. Digital things, again, how much time they are spending, if somebody downloaded the app, how much users are doing, and there are if there is a electric vehicle for that matter, we are talking about electric vehicle. So I say it's like electric vehicle anybody can make. I can automate my cycle.
Right.
But the core research is when Tesla is above most of the startups, they are working on the kind of like lithium-ion battery. We have a known resource of lithium in India, so we import it. The best way to approach towards this one idea can be somebody designs a NaCl battery.
So I think, Prashant, what I analyze or assess from this is the user journey, the user stories, the user engagements are the areas to be looked at when we go with validation, right?
Yes.
So I think fairly we hear you out in terms of your thought process around the ways which will tell us the ways it tells us to say what could each and every use case be validated in a different approach, and that leads to probable investment based on these assessments, right?
Yes.
So I think apps is a different approach, product services. I think it was a very valid point that you put across, which I think has addressed I think with these Manan and Prashant, we have definitely addressed the initial generic topic that we have for today. In order to say the first customer approach, how do you get the first customer or the validation? I think this was quite insightful to kind of have this particular topic addressed. With this, I think I will have a next continuing session by our other speakers, speaking about Kuberens House, who has started this. We initiated this together. So through this series. So guys, all the people in the audience, we are going on to the next session now, which is talking about Kuberens House and how Kuberens House will help us take us through this journey of validation, first customer, and also getting an idea to an investment is something we will start. And I will have Ranjit start this topic of discussion to introduce and talk about Kuberens House. And then followed by that, we will have Charan speak about the application screening and processes and the other initiatives. So over to you, Ranjit, talk about Kuberens House.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Govind. First of all, thank you, Manan, and thank you, Prashant. A lot of insights. So after a lot of insights, I'll just give a brief about Kuberens House, how it started, what we do, why should young entrepreneurs should apply for Kuberens House. First of all, this is Ranjit Royal. I'm the co-founder for Kuberens House. I'm one of the co-founders for Kuberens House. So basically, this is a brainchild of three of us. So that is Mr. Sanjeev K. Kumar, who is also the CEO and co-founder. We also have Ram Gowda, who is another co-founder and also MD of this, and myself. So basically, when the full world came to a standstill due to the pandemic, where people had no money, a lot of business into the losses and all, then we came together and wanted to create something incredible towards the reality of Make in India. That's how this idea came up, and then we started this Kuberan's House, which is a television reality showcase. And Kuberan's House, for this Kuberan's House, we have collaborated with Mr. Sonu Sood, who is a selfless national hero who has helped so many needy people during the pandemic. And for this, he came together and collaborated with us, and he's going to play a very, very key role as a Sutradhar who will be connecting the dots between the entrepreneurs and biggest investors. And he will be empowering people to make the dream come true. So that's how we have collaborated with Mr. Sonu Sood. So coming to Kuberan's House, what does we do here and how does this operate everything? So Kuberan's House is first of its kind and one of its kind. It's a television reality showcase which is going to come up on a national GEC channel. So which channel, all these details will be soon released on a press release. So you can get more insights on that. So basically Kuberan's House gives a platform for ideators and entrepreneurs to come on board and get connected to the biggest businessmen and venture capitalists of India. So that's how Kuberan's House plays a big platform role here. So any ideator, any entrepreneur from any sector, any background, any profession can come and apply here. Even if any ideator who doesn't have a business model, who doesn't have any registered business, also can come and apply with Kuberan's House, and then we will take it ahead from there. So basically, Kuberan's House will give the biggest platform for every young entrepreneur and ideator to come on a national platform GEC channel. So after all the applications which gets registered with Kuberan's House on Kuberan's House website, this last day for registering with Kuberan's House is on 31st January. So post that registration process, a top 500 startups will be shortlisted, and these people will be going through a Kuberan's House Hall of Fame certification. So they will be given a seal of merit for this. Post this 500 people, a top 500 people would be shortlisted, and then they will go through a 3-day holistic and exhaustive workshop. This will be consisting of an exclusive panel of professionals in accounting, fund management, chartered accounting, legal and public speaking. The motive of this 3-day workshop is to explore and impart each and every aspect of making a successful pitch to the investors. End of the day, all these pitches has to be converted into an investment. That's the motive and goal of Kuberan's House. So every participant will get this opportunity to pitch to the most prominent investors and venture capitalists, and they will evaluate their ideas, negotiate and close an investment between 10 lakhs to 10 crores. So this is first time it is coming on a Indian network. So this is going to be the next game changer in India. So I think we'll pass it on to Charan for
thank you so much, Ranjit, for that introduction, and I think it's definitely resonated to the audience about this initiative and why we are doing this session to address to the audience who have joined our webinar today. Charan, I think with that continuation, I think we would need important talking points from your end as well in order to say how many sectors have come in. What is the process, much more in detail probably, and then talk about the startup perks and those areas if you could cover there.
First of all, thank you, Govind, and team for putting this together. Thanks, Prashant and Manan. It's always enlightening to listen from people from different sectors. The first thing here, as Ranjit has already mentioned, the core team of Kuberan's House has put this concept together that motivated me to, partner with the whole process here, because the whole intent as an entrepreneur, it's all about when you give a right platform to people. But when it's the right platform, it's all about the right process which is created, which is ensuring that every right entry should not get missed out in the whole process. And in this, we got a diverse set of applications from different fields, from agri-tech to the emerging tech area, into the drones, and you name it. Every sector in India has surprised us with the type of applications which you already received. And kind of a very relevant topic today, what Govind is moderating about first customer and market validation. We have ideas which are at an ideation stage. We have ideas or startups with growth stage kind of attraction. They already have customers and they already have revenues. There are ideas which are at a prototype level too. So as Kuberan's House is entirely from a range what Anita has mentioned, the whole idea is the diversity of startups is completely across different domains. So what we are identifying is we have identified pool of experts from different sectors. So when we say when there is an idea of agri-tech, it is being vetted by the founders who are already running the companies in the area of agri-tech. So the vetting process is smooth and ensuring that a right idea, it's not just about revenues only, it's not just about the concept, but the whole uniqueness and the novelty which is behind it. Because the novelty and the investable idea. Because today,
Charan, could I request that your voice is quite shallow?
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
So these are all let's say the whole first world problems everyone is going through, because sometimes these problems can have new solutions for the startups which apply. So the first thing which I keep saying in the application process, it is about how important is the clarity of the thought. The clarity of the thought of an entrepreneur is what takes them to the next level, and that's being observed in the application process. Because tomorrow, when they are before India,
Charan, I would request if you could switch off these, if you could mute and unmute again and try speaking, if it's okay.
Am I audible now? Yeah. Okay. So the first, with the application process, we have 3 levels of screening. So in the initial level itself, the basic screeners who understand whether the application is properly filled and all the columns are done, all the relevant data is given, and we even have approaches. We are talking to the founders who have missed out at certain data so that they come back with the right relevant data. And the next level, the sector-based experts are trying to cover the areas where there is what is the unique competitive advantage that they have over others and how investable it is, so that they will be shortlisted into the top 500. And when, as Ranjit rightly mentioned, we are looking forward to the workshop, the final leg of the screening of applications in the Kuberan House, where there are a series of experts where they'll be groomed in a way that they are presentable before the marquee investors or Kuberans who will be on the show. Yeah. Govind, you're on mute.
Fairly, I think, we have covered all the topics. I think that was definitely insightful from both Ranjit and Charan. We have fairly covered all the topics that needs to be addressed for the introduction of context of Kuberan's House and this general introduction of first customer and validation by the keynote speakers Manan and Prashant. Thank you so much for all the insights so far you have given to us, and we will now open the questions to the panel. And I have already received certain questions from the panel already. Everyone from the initiators, I would request the members in this webinar who have joined us to please start posting your questions on the chat, and then we will have it answered whatever we have in the stipulated period of time. So having said that, I think I have the first set of questions, and I'll address these questions to our specific panelists. All right. So I think I have my first question, which says, how do we raise funds if we are a startup and if you are a single founder, this is slightly deviated, but I think still in relevance to what we are looking at. But I think I would want Manan to answer this. To say, Manan, the question for you is, how do we raise funds if a startup founder was run by a single founder?
Yeah. So when you've drawn up the idea of your product or your service or whatever is the new innovation that you're bringing to the market, one of the things that you need to work on is what is in it for not just the customer, but also the investor.
Right.
Why does an investor invest? Apart from the philanthropic initiatives that are run, 98% of the investors are in it for the profit, right? Show me the money, right? And how do you show the money to an investor? What is the break-even plan? What is the fund requirement plan? What is the returns that you are expecting to generate? Okay. This is hard data. This is not gut feel. This is not intuition. An idea is an intuition, right? But when you're asking someone to invest in that idea, which is not their idea, by the way, okay, you better go with something which is more concrete than just the idea. You have to show them how that idea is going to scale up, why that idea is a pressing, one of the most interesting investment opportunities that the customer is going to get, the investor is going to get, and what is in it for them? What is the kind of return that you can promise to them?
Right.
Again, I might sound like a broken record here, but there are very few people out there who are willing to put money on you.
Right.
Your parents are at the top of that list.
Right.
Comes followed by your spouse, followed by your in-laws, and the circle just grows bigger. Right? You're reaching out to an investor as an individual, and you are asking them to put money in the idea that you have.
And how about a single founder doing it?
Right. That is the broken record part.
Okay.
What is your network? Who will tell an investor that this is an idea worth investing in?
Right.
Okay, because you and I, if we are not investors, investor is not going to look at us as someone from his side of the story.
Correct.
He's going to see us as almost those people who are after his money, but they don't want to invest in their own idea, right? So you need someone by your side, and hopefully someone from your network who's willing to reach out to this investor, and hopefully you are lucky enough to have a common good friend,
right?
Tell them that this is a good idea,
right?
And then the floodgates open. Now it has its own risks, Govind. I will address those at a later time, but that's how investment works in India. Okay, a good investor invests, and he says to one of his investor friends that here is a good idea that I saw the other day,
right?
And I've put in 1 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees, 20 lakh rupees in it.
Right.
You also put some money. Okay, send over the person. I'll see. The person looks fine. Investment happens, and then the floodgates just open, because then the next news in the market is going to be that 2 of these high net worth individuals who have a track record of successful businesses have invested in this idea.
Right.
Okay. So goes back to your network, or they have the perseverance and hard work and sweat and toil needed to succeed at a platform like the one provided by Kuberans, right? Because then you have free publicity, you have media covering your efforts.
Perfect.
You have a personal story to tell that travels where you can't travel.
Yeah.
Okay? And then next thing you know, there are people lining up to invest in your idea.
Right. I think that was a well articulated answer, which was very well put out, Manan. I think it was a very well way of thought process that you had towards this question. I think I'm going to pose my next question to. Thank you again, Manan. I'm going to pose my next question to Prashant. Prashant, there's a question from an individual which says, how do you put a valuation to a pre-revenue startup?
Pre-revenue startup.
Pre-revenue startup, yes.
See, valuation for startups happens with the kind of customers you have got. There is no revenue in your business. Means like I would give you an example here. I assume a startup, I'm an investor, I assume it is 1 year worth of this. I'm going to give 10 lakhs to him with a 10% stake in his company. it's very difficult. It's not very tangible talking about a valuation of a startup who doesn't have a revenue to it.
Okay.
Innovation can have you can future forecast that okay, fine, this technology would be adapted by so many things, so many. Recently, I was talking to a fintech startup. He said, "Sir, we will have some 700K using this fintech app within 3 to 4 months."
Okay.
You are a billionaire now. So that assumptions are always there. There are theorems and formulas in financial sectors that can have a value for pre-revenue startups.
Right.
That's kind of a very futuristic approach. It's like I don't see any of the investors would ask such kind of valuation, because if you don't have a revenue, you are on the backseat.
Right. Okay.
Somebody will drive you, and if you get an investor who believes this innovation can work, so he will come. But that time you cannot expect a valuation there, and
Okay.
it would be more of a negotiation, how you can negotiate with the investor.
Okay.
So that's the whole process. It's like when you were Manan was you posed a question to a single founder. If I was an investor for the single founder, if he didn't have any team attached to it,
Right.
employees to it, I wouldn't have invested in that.
Okay. So your take and your suggestion to the members here is, or individuals here is, stating that have a revenue, have a customer, so that it gives you a better valuation standpoint and justifies it. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So see, there can be n number of theorems and formulas in economics, and your chartered accountant can tell you some of the assumptions that how market will grow. Like e-commerce is $1 billion, $1 trillion market.
Right.
So that weighs the valuation, but how much logistic is required? What is your inventory?
Yeah.
So there are many approaches toward it, but it would be very generalizing that a valuation for pre-revenue startups. It's difficult actually.
Okay.
If I was an investor, I would have negotiated very hard.
Right.
I would have, if somebody is expecting 1 crore of money, I would have told him, okay, 10 lakhs I'll pay. Why don't you go other place? And so anybody can utilize it in a better. So it's better to get a customer and revenue first, and about investment, valuation, and all. Before that, it's all assumptions, and assumptions would not be very healthy with most of the network.
Okay. Okay. I think that was a good insight to the members. Also generalizing, as of today's current world, for an investor, I need validation. In terms, I need validation to do a valuation, right? So that validation is my customer and revenue. These are the two things I would, want to address as an entrepreneur. Okay, I think thanks so much for that, Prashant.
Okay,
my next question is posed to Charan. Charan, there's a question that says, how do you choose a product which lasts long in the market? What kind of a product do you want to build that goes on for many years? Meaning, how do you have a product that stays relevant for many years to come? Yeah.
I'll be very, very happy if I know the secret. So it's like, again, see, there are two ways to look at it. There are some standard businesses where it is like, if you see any successful startups, it is all about an unorganized sector converting it to an organized format. Like, if you see, with the use of technology is one area. The second thing, if you see, it is all about something which I don't know, which is future. Which is future. So there are I'll give an analogy which I keep giving in my college seminars. There are only two movies which get very popular. One is like Bahubali types, where I can't jump from one mountain to another, but I wish I can do that, like a superhero movie. Right. So that's what happens is there are startups which get invested, which don't have revenues, and sometimes you don't know why they get invested, because the investor sees something which no one can do. It's like the startup, someone says, I'll send people to Mars, or a satellite to, I am going to launch a vehicle, a space vehicle. But people do put money into it at a very high valuation, so whatever it is. That's the one type of thing. Second type of startups which get invested or products which get invested are the most basic things. It's like a movie which is like a reality thing which happens in our day-to-day life, like a life in metro kind of a scenario, where it is like us. It is our day-to-day problem. So the extreme is something which you can use because when you go through after raising couple of rounds of investment and spending time with lots of investors, unless investor identifies himself with a problem, he experiences the problem. So it's like a lot of times if you see the startup ideas which they get invested are, unless you are not connected to that problem, you don't get to do.
Right.
There are other things you can't do, but you want it to do. So something you can't have any standardized reply saying that we can identify a product which survives long time. And even investors also doesn't want them to be there for forever. They have their own promising timelines where they have
Correct.
to give it back to someone else. So ideally, they look at a phase. Are you relevant to the current times? And are you before the trend? Sometimes it's like, are you thinking about the fourth step when you are at the first step?
Correct. Right. I think fairly you covered a lot more areas in the same question, Charan. I think it was quite a unique way you kind of proposed your thought into this. This was very insightful again. So I will move on to the next question to Ranjit, Charan. So Ranjit, there are actually two questions for you. One of the questions people are asking is how is Kuberens House different from the rest of the fundraising initiatives that is happening across India? Second thing being, I mean, also coming from my side, I want to ask, and also coming from the other people, is why was this event made, right? Why are we doing this for all, and what is the reason behind, right? So two questions for you, Ranjit.
Okay. So first, I would like to start with the second one because it is quite interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason for this event. So basically, Kuberens House is an inspiration from Make in India concept. So Kuberens House wants to reach every nook and corner of India and give a revolutionary thought to every ideator and entrepreneur that they're ideated into an investment and a business. That's the prime motive of Kuberens House. So recently, when we went through this process, so we heard many startups or ideators or entrepreneurs from tier 2, tier 3 cities and all don't know where to go, whom to approach, how to approach an investor. They don't have a pitch deck, but they have a brilliant idea which can change, a game changer in the current scenarios. So that's how this event was created, and KH is going to give a platform for every entrepreneur and ideator to come and apply in Kuberens House. So we will take you to the investors, biggest investors in India on Kuberens House platform. That's how this event was started.
Okay. So the question was also around one differentiator or a couple of differentiators to say how is Kuberens House initiative different from the rest of the conferences, events, and so on. Yeah.
So if you see, Kuberens House is the first of its kind and one of its kind platform, which is giving every ideator and entrepreneur to apply, irrespective of their business, ideas, professions, background, their city from where they come from. So irrespective of that, we give a chance for every young entrepreneurs and ideators to come on board. First, that is the thing. Second one is, this is going to come up on a national GEC. This is going to be first of its kind again. So till now, the pitches and between the entrepreneurs and investors used to happen among four walls between a meeting, a review meeting, or whatsoever. So now we are giving a platform for them to come on a national GEC that their product or idea can reach out to every nook and corner where they get half publicity out of that, and their product will go into every mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
These are the where.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think these were good stating points from all of our key speakers. I think we are just running a little short of time. Looking at the timelines we looked at, we slightly extended as well. But happy that We have had great participation and involvement and inclusive webinar session today. So I'm definitely want to look at areas and have more questions answered.
What you
Two more
want
questions.
is also to make sure that.
Yes. So because we're running out of time, but we would like to extend by a couple of minutes because there are two interesting questions come in from the members and individuals in this webinar. One is how do you do market research during COVID times? Interesting question. I'm not who should be addressed this question to, but I'm going to ask Charan. Charan, do you want to take this up?
So there are lots of digital survey making market, we have facilities where we can take online surveys which are there. And I know a company which started sending samples to people to their home and residents and then taking an experience survey. I know there are avenues for that, and it depends on which sector it is. You can't have a generic answer to it. But again, if you are talking about a market research in a particular product or a direct to consumer product, you can do that by sending and taking responses. But if it is any other sector, maybe I can answer specific question once you mail to info@kuberenshouse.com. If you have any thoughts, I'll ask the team to pass on. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Charan. Well said. One last question before we close the session for today. And I would also like to. Okay, so the question is, there was an idea that was rejected, but I didn't know how to pivot that idea. What is the process, and how do I approach Kuberens House? I'm going to repeat that. I had an idea, but that got rejected. But I'm now looking at pivoting my idea. I'm not sure of the process. And how do I approach Kuberens House? Is the question clear?
Govind, I cannot talk much on the Kuberens House. It's like Ranjit.
So I'm going to split that in that case. I'm going to say first half of the question to be addressed by Prashant, and then the second half I'm going to put it to Ranjit. So Prashant, the first set of the question is their idea got rejected, but they're looking to pivot. They don't know how to pivot. That's the question.
Actually, first the question is actually very short. It should be more descriptive where it got rejected.
Right.
The customer has rejected it, then you have to leave. You cannot pivot anything.
Okay, you can take a cue of customer rejection versus investor rejection. So you can talk on these 2 points.
No, customer rejection is there, then no investor will come in. It's like
right.
So that's all. If you want to pivot that idea and do better, so it has to be interactions with mentors. Mm-hmm. A mentor-mentee relation is very important there.
Okay.
Right. It's like in our incubation center, if somebody approaches us, I'll give you an example of one guy approached us. So he developed something related to drones. Mm-hmm. So he wanted to make what he was doing for 1.5 years, he was roaming around country, going to places, seminars, webinars, and talking about it. Nobody listened to him. When he came to our incubation center, we changed just one line in the whole business plan, and now he's the happy guy.
Right.
So that one line changing has to be. Means like my experience, I have interacted with more than 7,000-8,000 startups, vetted a lot of technologies. So I sometimes say I have got a sixth sense to what startup will work, what will not work. If I am wrong on that, he was talking. I gave him a very layman example. See, why don't we have Spider-Man in India?
Okay.
Because we don't have a high-rise building. वो तो भागते थक जाएगा, sir.
Right.
So that's the whole scenario. It's like if something, innovation is not just like you have a very completely new idea, very drastic idea and all. That's there. The translational is there. But there is something which is happening in some other part of the world, and if you replicate that in India, take an example of Amazon and Flipkart.
Right.
It happened here. Alibaba, again, somebody is trying to do Alibaba here. So there is rejection is something you have to learn from.
Right.
And rejection, what point it was rejected? It was rejected in a business plan competition. It was rejected in an incubator. It was rejected by the investor. It was rejected by the customer.
Right.
If customer is God,
Right.
customer rejected it, there's nothing.
Right.
You cannot breathe. You have to close down.
Yeah, I think, fairly, it's also of looking at where the rejection happened and how do you connect and change that into a complete new approach or a pivot, right? So have a different process in place, have a different initiative in place, have a different plan in place, and then take that result out and convert that result into a positive.
And one more thing I would like to add to all the founders here and all the startups here. See, being emotional is good, but don't get emotional to ideas like you feel depressed when rejection happens.
Right.
So that emotional element is always there. It's your child. You have to nurture it well, and if it would be a bad child. That's it. So,
And
that emotion quotient should be a bit low, and people should understand, take thoughts, form a network, form a team. First, the informal network is there formally, and the startup ecosystem in India has grown so well.
Correct.
Kuberan's House, which is one of its kind of reality show which will be coming.
Yeah.
System like incubators have come up. There are mentors here. There are investors. Earlier, there were investors who were billionaires. Now, micro investors has also come.
Correct.
People who are having 10, 20 lakh rupees. There are startups who need only 5 lakh rupees to do something.
Correct.
That kind of investment is also happening.
Right. I think fairly you put it right in the way that the questions have come up. Ranjit, so they're all asking, what is the solution and how do we apply to Kuberan's House? Do you want me to answer that, or you would want to say that? Can I answer if I get a chance to? I know I'm the moderator, but I would. Yeah. So I think for all the questions, So I think for all the questions we have had, I would say the solution, the platform, the initiative, the resource, the mentorship, the guidance, all of these things is happening in one house. That's Kuberan's House. It's not that, I'm saying because I'm a part of the team. It's a very dedicated and a very structured approach in why we're doing this. Because these workshop sessions, these mentor sessions will exclusively happen for curated startups, the top curated startups, which are going through a life cycle of the product. It could be a particular service, it could be a particular sector, industry, it doesn't matter. If there's a great validation, if there's a great idea with a business plan, or some points that are quite unique in nature, in their own ways, in their own industries, there is also this very nurtured approach that we follow in Kuberan's House through our workshop initiatives and programs that tell you what are the right tools and techniques and initiatives you need to take through to make sure that you pitch the right, you do a super pitch to investors, right? So that's something that I would like to have and conclude on this note. And I would thank all of you for joining, all the members, and most of all, thanks to all the panelists today and the key speakers and the speakers today for joining in. And I'm also equally glad that I was a part of this as a moderator, to be a part of this forum and webinar. This is our first session. And I would want to do a shout out saying there's a great session happening tomorrow. I know it's a Sunday, but definitely it won't be a boring webinar. It'll be a very more exciting webinar coming up tomorrow as well, which is to make, we all know this, but also repeating, how do you make a successful pitch is going to be the next generic session tomorrow. We will have some investor speakers coming in. So I would request to call all your friends, your associates, colleagues, professional network, whoever it is, to be a part of tomorrow's session as well. But before I conclude, I thank you all for joining in at short notice and coming to this webinar session today. I think we covered quite detailed topics and deep insights that I received from every individual here. And I'm glad and thankful to all again. Thank you all and have a great weekend ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Signing off from Kuberan's House team. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.